Hey guys, it's Haley. Today I wanted to show you kind of an everyday work look. If you work at a restaurant, if you work at an office, or basically if you work anywhere, I feel like this is a pretty simple classic look for just being put together and still wearing all your makeup but not looking too overdone. So this is really simple. It's super quick and easy to achieve, and stay tuned if you want to see how I got this. Thanks for watching, you guys.
First, I'm starting with my Smashbox Photo Finish Pore Minimizing Primer and putting that all over my face, especially under my eyes because I sometimes forget there. And then I'm working that in with a white beauty blender because I'm trying to get better about my skincare and primers and working them in a little bit better. Then I'm spraying myself with the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist just because that makes you look super dewy and luminous just like it says. For my foundation, I'm going to be mixing the Too Faced Born This Way and the Makeup Forever Chromatic Mix White Drops. The porcelain color is way too dark for me, so I have to mix about half of these white pigment drops to make it match my skin color, but I really like this foundation, so I work with it. So first I'm putting that all over with a 56 airbrush from Sephora Collection, and then patting that all in with a beauty blender to make sure it's nice and blended. Now I almost forgot to put on my Agave lip mask from Bite because that makes my lips super hydrated once I'm ready for lipstick. Now I'm using the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer under my eyes, and this is in the shade Fair. I'm also using that on the chin, on the nose, on the forehead, and kind of around the mouth. And this is going to highlight my face and just add a little bit of extra coverage where I need it. I just tried this out the other day for the first time at work, and it's super hydrating. I have really dry skin. It makes my skin look really healthy and hydrated, so that's what I've been loving it while I get the really good coverage that it has. And then for under eyes, I'm going to go in with my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder just to brighten that up some more. And of course I'm using a beauty blender to do this because it gets right where I want it to, and it's just the easiest to apply. And to set the rest of my makeup, I'm using my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light, which is getting super low, but I'm just blending that all over my face with a big brush. This powder just makes you look super luminous and not matte at all, which I really like. And I'm just making sure my eyelids are nice and primed with the 24-hour Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. And then I'm setting that with the same ambient lighting powder from Hourglass I just used over my face. I'll be using this light beige color in the Morphe 35K palette to start off working it into my crease and create that shadow and my first kind of transition color for everything else. It's going to be really soft eye makeup, but still need all those colors. And I'll be going in with this slightly darker beige color and going back and forth right where I went with my other color, but keeping it more concentrated in the crease, not really blending it out quite as much. And just keep adding layers of this until you get the desired darkness or depth that you're looking for. Now to warm it up a little bit, I'm going to be using this darker orange color, and I'm going to be putting this right in the socket of my crease, not blending it out too much. You want to keep it really concentrated right there so it adds kind of like a natural depth and natural fold. Now I'm just blending everything together again with that light beige color I first used in the beginning, and then using a clean blending brush also to just diffuse all the edges and make sure everything is really softly blended. I'll be using the white and yellowish color to mix together and create the highlight under my brow and make that my final transition color at the very end. The yellow is too yellow by itself and the white is too stark white by itself, so I mix the two together. And I'm also packing that on my eyelid as well, just to keep that nice and open and highlighted. And just blending again for good measure. Now I'm really not going for a bold eyeliner look, so I'm just using the NARS Larger Than Life eyeliner to tightline my eyes. I'm just lifting up my eyelashes for that so I can get right in the roots there. And I just did my mascara off camera using the Tarte Multiply Primer, the Grandiose from Lancome, and the Lancome Hypnose Drama. And for bronzer today, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever 15i Pro Bronze Fusion and just start working that onto my forehead. I'm not going to be using any other bronzing powders than this one, so I'm going to go just a little bit more heavy than usual so I have lots of warmth to my skin and it's not so ghostly looking. For blush today, I'm using the Marc Jacobs Shameless Bold Blush, and I'm using the color Outspoken, which is a really light lavender color. So right about here, I realized I have way too much blush on. I think it was from yesterday's blush because it went on way too dark. And so if this ever happens to you, just take a clean blending brush, or in this case, what I use my powder to put on. And I'm just kind of blending that out, and that'll make it nice and perfect again, not too intense. And then I'll just be kind of blending that out with a blush brush again. As always, I'll be using Champagne Pop as my highlight from Becca, of course, and I'm putting this all over my cheeks. I highlight a lot in this one, so I'm putting that all over my forehead, on the Cupid's bow, on the nose. I'm really liking this on my Cupid's bow lately because, I don't know, it just really makes your Cupid's bow look nice and pronounced and super nice. So I've been putting a lot on there and right under the eyebrows and the corner of the eye, and just looking super dewy and highlighted. To finish off my eyes, I took that second kind of peach beige color and put that halfway under my eyes until about the middle. And then I took the lighter peach Bellini beige color, put that in the front, and then that light white and yellow mix underneath the corner of my eyes. And then I'm going to set the entire thing with my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray and make sure that's nice and soft, and put in some white eyeliner on the inner rim of my eye to make me look super awake, and just use some of that dark orange color on the corners. And then I'm using the Ultimate Ozone, which is just like a lip primer, and I'm putting this all over and on the entire lip basically. This will prevent all the feathering. And then I'm using the Sephora Collection Marvelous Mauve Lip Cream Lip Stain, and I'm putting this on just like a liquid lipstick, which is basically what it is. I'm putting this all over. It's a pretty like mauve-y tone and pretty nude at the same time, so I'm filling this in completely. And that basically completes the look, you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in my next video.